right, here we are at SPI 2019, right after the fabulous conversation with Jennifer Potter, Hawai'i State PUC Commissioner. Very thrilled to see you here.
Thank you.
What was your takeaway from that conversation with everybody? I mean, we're so far ahead of the curve, and yet everybody's kind of facing the same problems, right?
Right, absolutely. And I think that one thing that we heard was customer equity, right? I mean, that coming loud and clear. Stakeholder processes, how do we get more people involved in how we're making these decisions and the dockets that we're going through? And then ultimately, that there's a definite difference between regulated and deregulated states, right?
Yeah.
and so even how they're thinking about incentivizing their utilities. One thing from Brian, it didn't seem like that was really part of their regulatory process. It seems as though they're thinking more along the lines of retail markets versus the wholesale, and they've got in this regulatory sandbox kind of how can we create innovation, whereas we're thinking, okay, innovation, we won't work on that necessarily yet. We just want to figure out ways to motivate the utilities to do what we think is in the public interest that they may not want to do otherwise. And Oregon seems to be going down that same road. So this seems to be more of like a vertically integrated type approach versus, than a deregulated kind of market. So I don't think that that's a surprise per se. So yeah, definitely an interesting conversation though, and it's great to be ahead of the ball game, you know.
Well, it's nice to have everybody coming to us for advice.
Yeah, absolutely,
little bit.
absolutely.
The comment about at the end that we are buying heavy bunker fuel and we're a highly volatile market. I mean that's been our concern since the very beginning.
Absolutely.
How fast can we really go? You know, any sense of it?
I don't know if you saw the most recent RFP that came out. I mean, we're asking for a gigawatt of power coming in, and honestly, let's get it all. If we can, and we're looking at some pretty intensive performance incentive mechanisms to accompany that, similar to what we did in the phase one. So ultimately, it's all about giving the utility what they need in order to really pursue and go after these things, because otherwise, they're gonna drag their feet. I mean, not that they're it's just that the business as usual is comfortable, it's risk-free, it's not
well known and for investor-owned company.
Right. But we are such a highly vulnerable state in that we are importing all of this and that we're burning this dirty fuel. So absolutely have to push the pedal to the metal on this stuff and really move as quickly as possible. The utilities have stated, we'll hit 30%, no problem. We'll hit 40%, no problem. But I think they still need a lot of encouragement in order to get to that level. And in general, 40%, 50%. We're going to need to continue to incentivize them in order to do that, and hopefully.
It seems like with this new RFP phase 2 that we could be upwards, correct me if I'm wrong here, but about 80% in some circumstances.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah. And Lanai and Molokai can be 80%, which is wonderful. So thank you. And so that's very exciting. But on some of the other islands, maybe not quite yet. So
within a maybe 3 to 5 year time frame, which is pretty
Yes.
exciting. I mean, one of the main kind of undercurrents I got there was how urgent is this, and how much can we wait?
Absolutely.
And you're coming from a perspective of, like you said, we're really motivating and helping and encouraging the utility to take this step, and then we're on this line where it's 3 to 5 years from now we could be in some circumstances 50 to 80% renewable.
Absolutely, you got it exactly, and that is a sense of urgency. And I didn't want people to walk away with the idea of that Brian had kind of laid out, which is no offense to him, but in his environment, it's like we're gonna move slowly. We're gonna take our, things do move slowly. We're not in that position. We don't have that luxury of saying, let's take our time.
I thought that was interesting too. Jay just mentioned that the discussion about the bunker fuel, about the oil, about where we stand as a state relative to the rest of the country. So this is an imperative for us.
Absolutely.
But it also illustrated the fact that it's possible, right?
Absolutely.
So that was so exciting. And I was like, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. It's really exciting, and I hope that we are in 3 to 5 years. I hope that we are at 50 to 80%. That would be spectacular.
Absolutely.
Because we have a really complex. I mean, we're not a small. We're not Puerto Rico. We're not. We have vibrant industry with military bases and just giant infrastructure that and
Serious
a tourist
energy needs.
serious tourism industry,
Yeah.
right? That's like our blood, our lifeline.
Yeah.
So we have to make
Great
sure
way
that
to
we
frame
keep
it.
this. Yeah, we have to keep it viable and strong. And so it's a little bit different than other places that I might have seen renewable energy kind of infiltrate that faster. So yeah,
Excellent.
Well,
great.
Jennifer Potter,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much
Absolutely.
for your time.
It was a
Appreciate
pleasure
it.
to meet you.
Let's come
Absolutely.
back in 5 years and announce that.
Let's do it. Let's do that.
Let's get
Sounds
you in
great.
studio in Maui.
Oh, at some point,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay,
sounds
we'll do a show.
great. I love it.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you. All right. Thanks.